and your life.
Hello, welcome to Parker Live. My name is Christina Holzhauser. I'm an executive assistant at Parker Staffing. For those of you who haven't joined Parker Live before, the purpose is to put a little bit of good into the world. We're hoping that you leave feeling recharged and maybe even learn something new. Today, we have the founder of Support Savvy from the Seattle area, Melissa Mosher.
Hello. Hello, Internet. Hello, world. I am going to say this is my first public live stream. I only can do these privately. So thank you so much for inviting me today. And because it's you, I'm excited to have my first public live stream today. So hello.
I didn't know that. I'm excited that you're on our 100. This is your first one. Well, I'm excited to have you here. Do you mind starting out by sharing a little bit about your background?
Absolutely. The way we got connected. So my name is Melissa Mosher. I am the founder and community manager for Support Savvy. I'm also a virtual MC, and we'll dig into what that is in a little bit. But I come from a world and career history admin. I've been executive assistant admin for over 20 years and have recently pivoted into the entrepreneur world, focusing on community production and strategic ops, having to do with groups, virtual events, remote teams, Facebook groups, all of those things about getting people that don't report to you to get stuff done. That's what we're focused on. And so as the last couple of years, especially now, as you can imagine, the pivot to virtual has exploded, not necessarily by choice, right? And so we're getting a lot of folks that are from admins to entrepreneurs. Oh, Smurfs, we've got to go do a virtual event now. What do I do? Which app? How do I produce? What? Blah, blah, blah. And so me and myself, I've got a team of 3, and we are rocking full time on community engagement.
I love it. Well, you found your calling for sure. Well, one thing I wanted to kind of start out by talking about is I know in the last couple months you gained some interesting insights about yourself in terms of being an extrovert or maybe an introvert. And I was wondering if you could share a little bit about that.
Yes, and to touch on today's topic, staying connected in a disconnected world. For those of you that know me or you found my content, I ninja around everywhere, and I tend to be the community person. I'm online everywhere. I'm a retired gamer. I hope you still like me, but this idea of being able to connect with people, and whether it's in real life or online, right? Now in our current environment with our work from home and quarantine and stuff like that, there was a post online in a group that I'm in, and they said, what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourself during lockdown? And I thought, oh, I love these questions. So let me ponder self. Hey, self, what have you learned, right? And for me, the biggest epiphany I've had is that for the last 20 years, I'll say 20 years of my career, I have battled anxiety on a metric scale. Most people don't know this about me because I'm really good at hiding it. But I have spent the last 20 years thinking I am a people person with anxiety problems. And what I've learned since this shift in our world, not just in my business, but the shift in the world, is that I'm actually an introvert with people problems. So if you let that sink in a little bit, how have we done on quarantine? How have we done on lockdown and stuff? I've done great. I mean, no, there's a lot of unrest in the world and there's all of these things, but the idea of like sitting back and going, I've been in downtown Seattle, I've been a corporate EA, C-suite, I love, I'm the events, I'm the go-getter, etc. But I've had this like brewing anxiety behind me just for years. And now I'm sitting here going, okay, I get to be in my space, my gamer space, my 16:9 right here that you guys see me today. And so sometimes we have to take a step back and go, how am I connecting with the world? I thought it was me being out in the world. And it turns out that my personal DNA fit is better video. Now I'm talking to everybody with you guys here today.
Well, that's great insight to gain. And I'm sure that, helps you just feel a little bit better. Like, okay, it's like, now I know myself. Now I know like what makes me feel good. And I'm curious. So, people talk a lot about, how we need to, find our tribe. And I was just curious, what that means to you.
I love this question because if you've also seen anything, or if you're now starting to follow my content online, my answer to 99% of questions is, it depends. It depends. This is so critical to me right now, connecting and finding your tribe. First and foremost, in the example that I just shared about figuring out that I actually am an introvert. Specifically, I'm an INTP. So I'm like an overthinker introvert, right? I'm the worst kind. But this idea of going, can I first connect with me? No community, no tribe, no organization, no business coach, no program you're going to pay for is going to install a connection with yourself. Only you can do that. And until you can be connected with yourself, really getting into tribes and things like that, into groups, whether it's an online community, it's a paid membership program, I'm kind of using that pretty neutrally, but whatever that tribe is, if you're not connected or clear with yourself as to what gaps you have that tribe may be able to help you find or fill, then I find a lot of us, myself included, we're like dating groups to try and fix ourselves. Like, can you help me? Can you help me over here? And I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, I might not even be sure what's wrong with me yet. Not that there's something wrong, but the idea of going, so if we take it into the literal sense of admin, I've been in just about every admin group that I can find, get invited to, and not get kicked out of. I've been into all of them. But where are they? Are they my tribe? Are they feeding me where I need to be? Am I contributing? Is it a two-way relationship, or am I just siphoning off them and they siphon off of me? Personally, I started to look at, where is my tribe? I need lots of tribes. I have like 5. I've got one for entrepreneur and businesses. I've got one for negotiating change as a woman. I've got one for software developers. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, your tribes can vary. Community, at the end of the day, preview into new project coming out next month, community is you. Community is you, and you're actually connecting your tribe to others, if you think about that.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, and as you were talking and you did say it is like a relationship, that's what I was thinking about. Like, you shouldn't really step into a committed relationship without really knowing yourself and taking the time to do that. That sounds pretty crucial. I never thought about that with, finding your community. So that's very insightful.
Right. There are actually 6. I got 6. I got to put my other finger up. There are 6 different kinds of community models. So a Facebook group, that's just the tool, right? Again, that retired gamer, girlfriend, I have been on every forum since 1994. They're all forums, groups, posts, tribes, communities, everything from Discord, if you're a gamer and you know that. But this idea now that we have all these social media tools that allow us to create community platforms, right? But that's not community. How many groups have you been in where it's nothing but what I call spray and pray? We just spray our content everywhere and we pray somebody click on it, right? And so you get these groups that are Facebook groups. Technically they're a group, but this idea of community. Am I giving? Am I taking? Am I getting something in between? Am I able to connect to other members? Do I like the tone and features that the moderator's doing? Are they moderated, right? How many groups do we join? And it is just a cafeteria. Like it's getting to the point where some Facebook groups, I think Reddit is cleaner than some Facebook groups now. And that's a weird twist.
Well, and as you're talking, I'm thinking about LinkedIn. Like, I'm a member of a lot of LinkedIn groups, and it just seems like it's a lot of like, read this article, read my article, here's an ad to buy something. And it is just a lot of like, just spraying information out. Yeah, buy my stuff.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I'm curious, what your favorite platforms are, or where you find, your communities that you connect with. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So I love that. There are a lot of groups, the LinkedIn groups, and they vary too, right? Like you're going to find different sort of content on Facebook than you are on LinkedIn, right? It's a different audience model. You'll get a lot more casual on Facebook. You'll get more professional on LinkedIn. So to touch on that, I don't want to knock any of the group owners that own groups, right? Because nobody has a manual. I think I might be the only human being on the planet that went through a 5-week course studying the 6 different models of community management, right? So there's like there's studies for this, just like there's SHRM and everyone that studies HR and resources and people and hiring trends. The same is true for community management. When does organic conversation start? How do we onboard members? Like it's a whole thing. So now with the LinkedIn groups, a lot of folks, because I kind of want to like save their efforts in some way, they haven't sat down and talked about what is my community strategy. Because your community is a product of your brand. It's not just this URL we flipped open on LinkedIn. It's very much so when I work with clients as a community strategist, we talk about it as a product. Like you wouldn't launch a book and just be like, here's the link. Well, who's it targeted for? Does it have a logo? Do you have a forward in it? Do you have a preface? Things like that. And so we do the same thing with communities. What's my favorite?
Yeah.
All of them. All of
All of
them.
them.
Here's why though. What my favorite is learning how to network intentionally. That's the event I'm also going to be doing on January 1. But learning how to connect with people, the type of people that you want to connect with, collaborate with. I live on Facebook for the most part. So for me, I do something what's called passive engagement, right? Somebody posts in a group and you see a whole bunch of threads and people going, I do that, I do that, I do that, I do that too. Chances are that person that originally posted it is not responding to all of those threads or not necessarily responding to all the questions asked. They're just trying to get you to buy their stuff, right? But I can go in and answer their questions and go, hey, that's a really great question. Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? And then out of nowhere, I've got people contacting me going, hey, I'd love to learn more about this. And so for me, if you go back to community is you, I am my community, and I reach out and engage intentionally into other pools, other swimming pools and other ponds, depending on the people that I'm connecting with, right? Clients typically are on LinkedIn, but you don't see me actively posting on LinkedIn. Everything is really kind of 1v1. There's a gal on LinkedIn, her name is Shay Rowbottom. She is fantastic. She also has a group on Facebook. She takes this even a layer deeper about how to actually engage in your competitors' threads, and not in a malicious way. But back to that, like they're not replying to everything. There is so much free opportunity to engage people on a 1v1 basis that the spray and pray method hopefully goes extinct soon, and it'll become referral based.
Oh, that's so smart. Well, and I'm just thinking also, as job seekers, if they wanted to like engage with people that maybe are at a company they work with, maybe that's a way to build relationships, or even if maybe you do have a side hustle building your brand. That's just a great tip. I love that.
Yeah, knowing what the thing is that you're missing. So a lot of this all community is you, and it starts with your own reflection, right? So when I decided I want to leave corporate or I got kicked out, whatever you want, however you want to spin it, my first brain thought is I have to learn how to entrepreneur, right? Like it's not going to be the same. We're going to have interviews in corporate. We're going to have discovery calls in the entrepreneur world. So immediately I'm going, okay, I need to learn entrepreneur stuffs, right? Where do I go? What community, what tribe can I connect mine into in order to fill my entrepreneur gaps, right? And then the reason why we say community is you, because whatever I learn, I'm going to bring back and it's going to go everywhere. Like community is you. I'm giving Christina tips. I'm giving my producers tips. Da, 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 da. That's the idea of like, I'm the community. I'm going to plug in, learn entrepreneurial stuff and have a blast. And then I'm going to bring it back and it's going to manifest in my network without me actually saying, hey, guess what I learned today?
No, I love that. When I think of you, I think about how like you always connect people together. Like you connected me and my friend Sarah in Denver, and that's how I met so many of my Denver friends. You connected me to Rachel at Parker Staffing. That's how I got this job. I was curious if you have any tips for people maybe who feel like nervous about connecting others. You're really good at that.
It's fun. I would like to say first, I'm good at it because I'm incredibly shy and I'm a bully when I don't know something. So I always like give yourself patience, love, and grace because I'm a redheaded stepchild. So first and foremost, I'm going to be really tenacious when I don't know how to do something. I'm going to figure it out 100 different ways. People will say, do you get nervous? Every single time. Y'all miss the I'm like, I'm going to go throw up. I'll be back. We'll be good. But this idea of going, I'm not trying to be a pop star. I'm not trying to get the whole world to like me. I just want to have a conversation. And what I learned in my entrepreneur journey, I actually went through a course in how to network because that's how my brain works, is going, how do you have just a coffee chat? Start with one-on-one networking. Just get that part like right where it feels comfortable, whether you find an accountability peer, whether you contact me and we do some practice runs. It doesn't have to be someone in your network, but get comfortable just having a 1v1 coffee chat. And what do I mean by that? A lot of folks will get nervous about going into a coffee chat. I don't know how to sell. I don't know how to talk about myself. Then don't do any of that. Learn about them. Tell me about you. Where are you at in your life? What are some features you wish you had? And take the spotlight off yourself and use intentional questions to really find out more about them. And that's what I did when I met Christina, 2016 when we first met online, was tell me about you. Like, I didn't come to the table with any sort of agenda. No, I did. I wanted to know who she was because I thought she was awesome. And at the time I wanted to interview her, but that's not what I came to the table with, going like, just tell me about you. Just tell me about you.
Well, then we grew an organic relationship, organic friendship, and we still know each other and support each other today. And
right. And don't, one of the other tips is don't overstretch yourself. You actually don't need 100 best friends, because when our inner circle, like that peer group where we can sit there and go like, how many assistants want to post online? All right, I experienced an executive tantrum today. Let me tell you about it. Well, we can't put that online, but we can have a peer, our inner circles. We could talk about this. What happens when our inner circles get too big? It's a version of analysis paralysis, right? We want to be really careful what we feed our emotional selves with and who we bring into that inner circle. Because if we've got 10 best friends, chances are they're either all telling us the exact same thing, so we're just in a little validation circle, right? Mm-hmm. Or they're going to be so completely different that every time you talk to one of them, they're going to just keep giving you opposite information, because you're not necessarily galvanized in your own, that connection with yourself. So I'd say start with 1v1, even if it's just one person, and go high five. I got through that and I didn't throw up. Whew. Take notes so that you can mine the relationship, because at the end of the day, I can Google you and find out all the tactical information I need about you, but I'm not going to learn like, hey, Christina, you just moved to Seattle. Are you kidding me? Let's hook up. Start 1v1, take notes, keep your inner circle small, right? It's small. The people that you should want, never take advice from people who wouldn't take yours. That's another really big one. Never take advice from people who wouldn't take yours, because if they don't respect you enough to position and value your advice, why should you give them that in return?
That's a very good point. And these are great tips. And we only have a couple more minutes. What I really want to do is I would love for you to share, what is a community strategist / virtual MC that, that could be an interesting job path for some people watching to look into. So I'm curious if you could share what that is.
Yes. Oh, that's super fun. Now I can go for an hour on that. So I love this. First, if you are an admin, assistant, or office staff, if you have ever spooled up a Zoom webinar, GoToMeeting, Skype for Business, all these different things, if you have ever set up a meeting that's virtual, first and foremost, you get to add that to your resume. You are a virtual event producer or you're a virtual meeting planner. Hit me up on your favorite platform and I'll help you bake that into your resume. So a community strategist or a virtual MC, I do both of these things. Big conferences, right? Everyone that has, like, if we think of Game Developers Conference, GDC is like 10,000 people in San Diego, right? They're now virtual. So who is going to be that person that can be that virtual MC? Like, you can think of Nick Cannon back on America's Got Talent, right? That's an MC. We're coming up next. We're doing that. We're making sure the stage guys in the back are good. The staff's got their thing. Speakers aren't late, etc. So a virtual MC is that front of the house kind of stage manager. Community strategist, you call me in and go, I've got 10,000 people in my group, but nobody's talking. What do we do? Or I think I want to build a group. Great. Let's talk about what that means, because we do things like, what activities are you expecting from your members? Are you offering them? Do they need to pay? What platform do they need to go on? How often are they meeting? Is there a time limit? So we go and actually strategize about what kind of community so we can build it as a product.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that background. And thank you so much for being here. I know your website is currently being revamped. So if people want to connect with you, it'll be up hopefully soon. Support
Yeah,
Savvy.
connect with me on Facebook or on LinkedIn. Those are the two fast ones right now. And yeah, the rebrand, like we are going full tilt into community productions. So we're changing the whole thing is, not EA speaker coach anymore. It is full on community manager, founder, everything. You're going to learn about every 18 different video platforms. Did you know Zoom is one of 18 platforms? How to run a community, how to find a community. You want to find your tribe? We'll help you figure that out.
I love that. So supportsavvy.com. So you can find Melissa there. She's also on LinkedIn, Melissa Mosher, Mosher. Well, thank you
I'm
so much for
everywhere.
being here. It's been fun having you.
Yes, thank you for this. Thank you for the whole month of the series. Thanks for being you, both inside and outside of Parker. And I'm a huge fan. Anytime anybody needs me, if you can find me, hit me up. I am there.
Oh, well, thank you, Melissa. Thank you,
Fantastic.
everyone.
You guys do well. And as they say in gaming, live long, raid well, my friends. Live long, raid well.
I love that. It's a good note to end on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.